Hello everyone. Today we have with us Jaishree Subrahmaniam. She is a PhD scholar in plant evolutionary ecology, uh, who, through her work on plants, have marked a chapter in the book of biological sciences for her. And actually, she was once an engineering student, like a lot of us. She made a career switch midway after first year. She was smart enough to make the switch, get out of that, and there's an interesting thing that happened. Like, I don't know how, but I guess a year back, she texted me on LinkedIn. She found out about citizens of science. She's like, "Can I contribute in some way?" And I was very happy looking at all her credentials. And yeah, we agreed. Eventually, that postponed. The Corona thing happened, and all. I was sick, and a lot of things happened. Meanwhile. So
Yeah.
again, now this thing freed up, and I contact her again. Meanwhile, I think meanwhile I realized from your LinkedIn post that she got Mary Curie Fellowship, which is among the most prestigious postdoc fellowships in the world. So it's quite a thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present Jaishree Subramaniam. Yeah, please take over, Damayanti.
Okay, so to begin right at the beginning, since when were you interested in biology or botany to be specific?
There's a funny story here that I was interested in biology in high school purely because, in India, you have a choice between having an engineering graduation or like a medical side graduation, wherein you can either choose mathematics or biology for your 11th and 12th grade. And I, for some reason, did not quite like math. So I thought biology was my way to go. So high school, it just happened that I was actually naturally, my affinity towards biology was also because of the fact that I had some incredible teachers in biology. So I thought that maybe I should learn more from them. And that's how I ended up with biology.
So then why did you choose to study engineering in the first place? So did you prepare for JEE or the other engineering entrances, or did you have any other option in mind apart from biology or engineering?
So, my family is the one that's composed of a lot of engineers. My father, my brother, my sister, even my sister's husband, all of them are engineers. And I was told that that's a very viable career option because of the said employability that happens. So everybody who has taken engineering eventually does find a job. So
That's an
I
urban
think
myth. That's an urban myth.
I know, right? But this was back when I was there. I did not know much about career prospects. So it was more like you should do engineering just because there will be a lot of other people in your own family who can kind of like help you towards this path. And like all of the students who have cleared 12th or are like about to clear 12th, there is this plethora of competitive exams that we all have to give in order to secure a position in any college. I did also prepare for these engineering entrances. I did it for both medicine and engineering. And funny story, I cleared both. And the only thing was, at that point, blood was something that I found very scary. So I decided, okay, if my dad's saying that engineering could be a good option, let's just see how it goes. But yeah, that's how it happened. I That's how I ended up in engineering.
There were certain sub questions, right, Damayanti, where they're all covered.
Yeah, like I'll go on to them now. Yeah, so basically, when did you decide to quit engineering and what made you go for that choice? Like, was there any
Okay.
specific incident or reason for that?
Yeah, I think I was telling Dushyant about this the last time we spoke. So I was in a room where you had to work with a lot of these resistors and breadboards and all of that. And for some reason, I was not able to understand how these machines work because that's so. In the first year of engineering, you are kind of like given an overview of all different types or subfields that exist. So I was working with this breadboard in my first year and I blew it up. I blew up the whole machine. And it was crazy scary for me. And I realized that the person that I am, I would be a terrible engineer. It would be like the worst decision I can do, not just for myself, but for the whole society if I become an engineer. Because that's just not the field for me. So that's when it clicked in me that okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I could use my skills into something more than just doing everything, that the path that has been told to me is not the one that I have to assume to follow. Maybe I can find something else that I could be actually better at than breaking up machines.
So that's a very symbolic way, like both you giving up on engineering and engineering giving up on you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, looking back, do you think that if you had received any kind of advice or any guidance in your 12th, then you would have been able to make a better career path for you, in the sense like the switchover and all that wouldn't have happened?
Definitely, I definitely think so, because having people who are not like I mean, obviously having professors help you out and give you the path is one thing, but having people who have just like 3 or 4 steps ahead of you, who have probably like traversed through the same kind of problems and struggles and questions and confusion about what to do after 12th. If I had just talked to somebody a little bit more about, okay, maybe engineering and medicine are not the only two options. If I had just talked to somebody who had probably taken some other path, my way to reach Miranda House would have been a little bit easier, I think. Because funny story, I actually gotten into Miranda House the first year as well, like my 12 after my 12th, but I didn't go because I had to go engineering. So I went back after failing engineering exams
Had a
purposely.
blast in engineering and came back.
Exactly, literally having a blast in engineering. I went back to the same college because I realized just by talking to people over there, when I was at Miranda, I was talking to other people, not just teachers, but I mean like students there. I realized that maybe this could be a environment where I could maybe thrive.
So from what I've seen, that many of the students who actually do a BSc in biology or life sciences, they either go for it because they didn't crack the medical entrance exam, or because they genuinely hate maths and physics. So a very few of them actually have the reason that they really love biology or they are really interested in that. So what is your take on this kind of a situation?
I think not your whole life cannot be mapped out right after you graduate 12th. I think it's a stupid thing to assume that you have a plan A that will fall into place exactly how you assume and exactly how you want it to be, and that it will just everything will fall in place immediately. I think that's a very naive assumption, if I may add. But I also know that a lot of students do end up in BSc because of the fact that they didn't clear exams, or actually they're preparing for another round of exams. And this is just like a backup path for them to follow up just till they're preparing for something better or bigger. But I do know that having a goal in mind might be a good idea. Maybe reaching that goal, the path to reach that goal might be different, and you might have to be prepared for having a plan B, C, or whatever. But as long as you have that basic interest in something, I think you will have to spend some time actually really asking yourself why you want to take the path that you want to take. I think that question people don't ask themselves a lot, because once you know that okay, this is the goal that I want to reach, you will find eventually some other ways to reach there. But to not even have that, to not even sit down and ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing, that would be something that people will make a choice that they might end up regretting later, much like I did.
Yeah, one thing I
So
would like to say is,
yeah.
in my grad first class, means the orientation class, our professors asked one question, that you are, means we were doing the BSc B.Ed course na, in
Yeah.
NCERT. So a professor asked that you are opting this course by choice or by chance. Means the by chance refers to the one who just left the JE and medical plethora of dreams and that all. So it was a
Mhm.
good question that struck our mind. Ki we
Yeah.
should value each and every discipline.
Exactly. There is like you would not be sitting where you are if you did not have good teachers to teach you and to show you the path forward. So I really do believe also that it's quite important for us to respect anybody who does any kind of job, because they're there because they're good at doing what they're doing. And a teacher who asks you these questions is definitely a very good teacher, because that person has had that idea that that's where they want to be. And having a good teacher can actually really make or break your interest into a subject. I really believe that.
So back when you made this choice, why did you specifically choose BSc Botany? Like, is there any reason for that?
Yes, there is a very good reason for it. I was not particularly interested in botany per se when I was in my 12th. So, biology includes everything, right? So, it includes zoology as well, life sciences, and everything. So, when I was there at Miranda House, I realized that I could choose all three, like zoology, life sciences, or botany. But life science and zoology, it require you to work with animals. And at that point, when I was in zoology, I realized that they were working with systems that were like, back then it was okay to dissect frogs and rats and things like that in the lab. And I just did not see myself hurting another living organism. I know plants are also living, and my first dissection with plants, I also apologized to the plant for killing it and for my own learning sake. But I'm just like a lover of nature in general, and to the idea of seeing frogs in a box full which are with having anesthesia, so that they're not dead yet, but they're not also alive. I just didn't see. I mean, huge respect for people who are able to do it, but I could not. I could not see myself doing that. Like looking into the eyes of that animal before killing it, I could not. And at least plants don't have eyes. So I was like, maybe that could be a way to go forward. So it was not like a decision I made out of liking botany, but more like dislike of killing animals, if that makes sense.
Yeah, actually, we don't kill the frog before dissecting. It's just,
Yeah.
anesthesia it. Yeah,
It just scared me to do that. So, and sometimes it can actually jump at you as well, right?
it
So
does.
no, I could not like that. No.
So, if anyone is given the choice between zoology, botany, and life sciences, which includes a combination of both for that matter, so
Yeah.
what would you think are the best options, or what kind of thought process should they have in mind while making a decision between these?
So, as far as I know, botany and zoology are honors courses. Life science is not, right?
Yeah, there's no
So
honors in life science course.
exactly. So I think that if you want to get a general idea of everything, then life science is the way to go for anybody who wants to just understand all these different aspects of biology, because life science makes you, I think, a generalist. And that's quite interesting for people who are interested and who haven't quite figured out, or who have a broad area of interest, or who just haven't found out the exact specific area that they want to focus on, which would make them a specialist. So I think the choice becomes a little personal in that sense, that you have to first identify what you would like to study, and based on that should you make your choice. When it comes to, just like, it's not just about botany, zoology as well. When it comes to engineering or chemistry or anything, I think to take out that time to think about, okay, you don't have to have like a huge deep interest into something as well, just that thing that intrigues you, that you think that you want to maybe understand a bit more and learn about a little bit more. Maybe if you just spend a little bit of time trying to think about and mapping out your likes and dislikes and your interests and what you would definitely not do, because you need to know what you don't want to do as well. As long as you know what you want to do, that's important, but not knowing what you definitely don't want to do is equally important. So I think sitting down with all these choices in mind, mapping out what you want to do or what you like to study, maybe that would be a very good first step into identifying the kind of degree that you would want to pursue.
So, when you were hunting down the colleges for applying for your BSc, then what other colleges did you have in your mind?
No, but no other college. I'm sorry. It was either Miranda House or not at all. I remember being very, very specific about my choice, because you know this, that Miranda House is composed of teachers who are dedicated, who want to teach to the students, not just to pass the exams, but to actually make them be interested in that subject. And that feeling I got, so I went to all these toured these campuses, campus colleges in North Campus, and initially I was thinking that maybe I could go to Sri Venkateshwara College as well in the South
Yeah.
Campus. But when I went to Miranda House, when I instantly interacted with, I do remember, I don't know if you know her, Dr. Janaki Subramanian from
We've
Miranda.
heard of her, but we haven't been taught by her.
Okay, she is. I remember she saw me the first time I went to Miranda House, and then when I went back to Miranda House, she recognized me. And she, just by talking to her, just the vibe that I got out of just interacting with her for 5 minutes of the admission, like just to understand the whole process, I was like, I want to be learning from her. I really do want to learn from her. And actually, very funny story. The reason I'm telling you this is just yesterday I spoke to her, and even though she's retired now, I was at Miranda House giving a lecture yesterday, and she was, even though she's retired, she decided to come back just to see me give that talk and to have that. And it was not just her, all the teachers that I've been taught by, they were all present, no matter what time zones they were in. And that feeling that those people remember me even after years of not staying in touch, and they've taught numerous students in the time, but the fact that they remember each and every one of us and they care about us as human beings and not just as students who bring top marks, because that's also something Miranda House is capable of doing. Every year we produce university rankers, and we are known to have a high quality of education that's being received by all the students. And not just that, I'm a feminist, and I knew that the women that have been there, who are there, they make Miranda what it is. And to have the chance to interact with those incredible women, I did not have another option in mind. I was like, yeah, it's Miranda House, nobody else, nowhere else I would rather be.
Okay, that's really encouraging for me to hear. But there are also many other great colleges in the North Campus, or for that matter, the IISCRs now, they have that BS dual degree option
Yeah.
available. So, do you think these are a viable option for anyone who wants to go into this?
Definitely, and especially the only thing that I think in DU which is lacking is the research focus. Like there is a lot of academic focus, like really learning the theoretical aspect behind it. And MH is actually one of the very few colleges that has a research lab of its own. Another reason why I liked Miranda House. But not all the colleges in DU allow you to have extensive research experience. So if you have thought early on that maybe you want to explore options of having a research career in research, maybe trying colleges like ICERS or ISC or NCBS, all of these are also really good, really great options, because they have amazing scientists who work there, who take their time to teach, and then you get exposure to what it means to work in a lab. So for somebody who's interested in that option, I think it's a very, very great idea to do that.
That's a very sweet thing your prof has done, like coming back or just
I
for
know.
you. Sounds great.
It's so
And
sweet.
yeah, one more thing, the bachelor's colleges, like, do you think there's any like good resource to find like best colleges for undergrad and all on the internet or
Aren't you
anywhere?
making it, Dushyant? Aren't you making like a blog about that?
Yeah, actually,
Speaking
we
in
are working
passenger.
on building that. Me, Damyanti, and a few others. It will be out maybe in some week. Hopefully,
Yeah,
this
so
month
I'm
it will
gonna
available.
say
So
citizen science. Go there and check that one out.
that's great. That's great. Thanks for the props. Yeah,
Use
but I
this.
think that's a serious necessity because, like, if you think of
I,
any, yeah,
I
sorry.
think there are a lot of. I'm sure I'm not aware of all the new colleges that have come up in the recent years, but I do hear that there are really good private colleges as well. Like there are very good governmental institutions out there in India as well. Like she was mentioning, like ICERS. I think they are government organizations, right? But there are, I think the one I know about in Delhi, at least, it's Ashoka University, which is like,
Ashoka, state of the
yeah,
art. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that's a privately owned organization, but they have managed to attract amazing people who work there, and who are giving that cutting edge knowledge out there. And there are also, like, if you're interested in environmental sciences, things like that, I also know that TERI, the Energy Research Institute, also has some courses. They have, I think, different branches as well, but TERI is some place which also attracts a lot of great scientists. And also, like, they have these extracurricular activities in which they organize these extensive seminars and workshops for students to come and learn hands-on trainings from scientists in the institute, and also they manage to bring in people from abroad to come there and talk to these students. So there are these private institutes as well out there, but then that again, like, it depends on what you want to do. Yes.
Yeah, sure. We'll include all of that in the list.
So how was your BSc experience like? Like after you switched over from engineering, what was the overall experience like, both the academic part of it or the research experiences that you had?
Yeah.
And
uh,
before that, like, how did you like make the switch? What all did you go through? I think you had to like convince your parents and all. That's a lot of work, right? So
Yeah, it's my father. When I just broke the breadboard, I told my dad that, Dad, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. And it's funny because my dad was on an excursion. So he's into mountain climbing. So he was on an excursion and he was going to be away for a month. And the same month was the admissions month for me. And I, like all other students, actually have their parents come with them to get admissions into college. It's a big step for everyone, right? I just called my dad. I'm like, I'm quitting. I can't do this. I failed an exam for which was personality development exam from the engineering, just so that they would want to hold me back a year so that I don't graduate to the second year. I failed that exam, called my dad, and went to Miranda House to get admission on my own alone. And I mean, because I knew it was no other college that was interesting to me at that point, and I just knew that maybe. And my dad was not quite happy, and he did not speak to me for months after I made this choice, because I was quite like a rebellion, that I just went behind his back to make this choice on my own. But I just knew in my heart that I would. Maybe I didn't know if I was going to be a good botanist, but I knew I was going to be a terrible engineer. So I was like, I'll convince him later. It's fine. And can I answer Damayanti's question now about my experience in bachelor's? Okay, cool. So any talk I give, any place where I go, I make sure to include one slide about my experience in Miranda House, because it's that important to me. Not just because of the memories I made at Miranda House, but also the fact that it was at Miranda House where the first seeds of curiosity about learning about plant lives was sown into my minds. It was so, like I was saying, Miranda House is actually one of the very few labs that has a government funded laboratory where people can actually do research work, like teachers do it. And we also have students doing internships over there. And when I went there the first time, I do remember that I was like, I want to know what, like, it's one thing to read in a book that, okay, this is what people have discovered and this is how plants behave. But I really got curious to know how people reach an answer. Like, what is the process that goes into understanding, actually hypothesizing a question, designing an experiment to answer and understand that question, and to conduct an experiment, reach a point where you can write about what you found. This whole process I wanted to learn. And through all my 3 years of bachelor's in Miranda House, I was an intern at the DSKC lab. I mean, I didn't take any summer vacation. Every summer, I was just there in the lab. I pestered my way into that lab so much so that, I don't know if you know Saloni ma'am, Saloni Bari. I don't know if she's still there. So
Yeah, she's very much there and working at the lab.
yeah, exactly. So Saloni ma'am was the first person. She was my first supervisor on a project ever. So in my first year of BSc, I went to her. I'm like, ma'am, I need to learn from you. You need to teach me how to do research. And my first ever project was on tissue culture, where she was working on some plants where she was trying to grow them in sterile conditions. And I was like, I need to learn this. So she was generous and kind enough to allow me to enter the lab. And for 2 months, I was working with her through and through every single day. We worked on different things. And then there was also, I don't know, she's retired now, Anita Sehgal ma'am, who also had another different lab. So she got her own funding to open another set of the lab. So her lab was like like every time I looked at it, my eyes started to sparkle. I was like, I need to enter here and see what is happening in there. It was happening, some work on physiology was happening. So then Anita ma'am was also very kind and allowed me to come and check out what they were doing. And just that all these, and Janki ma'am, Saloni ma'am and Janki ma'am were my supervisors. So I learned from them throughout my 3 years of BSc, just doing different types of projects and just trying to understand how the research process is conducted. So that itself is an amazing thing that they did for me, because they do that for every student who's interested, I'm sure. So I look back to those days and think about, like, if I had taken any other college, maybe I would not end up where I am today. And the teachers at Miranda House, the people there, they don't only care about your grades, because obviously that's important. And when I was there, I was constantly getting the university ranks for the department, and obviously everybody really wanted me to continue to do that. And because I was doing research and I was also doing some non-profit work, I was also working for NSS there. So I do remember one incident in the third year where I did not finish my practical file, and Saloni ma'am, being Saloni ma'am, comes to me and she's like, please beta file bana le, mujhe teko marks dene hai. Like, she did not want to fail me. She was like, you need to make any bad diagrams, I don't care, just submit it to me so that I can just grade you. I don't want you to fail. So this kind of, the feeling that these teachers care about you so much, so I mean, at the same time, I did not get any special um preference over any other student as well. So you know how you get punch marks for attendance in every semester के end में.
Yes.
So I did not get attendance तो होती नहीं थी वहाँ पे. मतलब I used to just study after my research work was over. After 5, that's when I started studying. Every semester, that's what I did. So Saloni ma'am, in fact, again, Saloni ma'am, during my final year, so it was like the final year competition between Hansraj and Miranda House for the university rank 1, and I was 2 or 3 marks behind the person who was rank 1. And I went to Saloni ma'am and asked her, ma'am, can you do something about my attendance marks? And she gave me 0 out of 5. She did not give me those 3 marks extra, just because that would have put me on top, like 1 mark ahead of that person. But she didn't do that, because that would have been, I would lose respect for my own self if that would have happened. So they care about the proficiency, they care about productivity, they care about how you do it the right way, but they also care about you enough to come and help you if you're slagging. So that feeling, no matter where I went after, I could never get that feeling back, no matter where. So Miranda House is my love forever.
And apart from Miranda House, there are a lot of other internship opportunities also available at DU and other colleges, other universities. So, for
Mhm.
someone who wants to aim for research, what kind of research projects or other internship options are available in the field of biology?
I think that again, it depends on the general interest of the student as such. But I do know that there are a lot of CSIR labs across the country that allow you to have internships. So you can, when you really want to learn the workings of a research lab, one thing is to look for open opportunities. That's definitely the way to go forward. But I have found through personal experience that cold emailing people also kind of works. Like, if you send 100 emails, maybe 2 or 3 would reply, and even probably one would be positive. But if you come up with people that you really are interested in working with, and the kind of research that probably intrigues you the most, do not be afraid to reach out to people and ask them if you can actually go in and learn in the workings of their lab. Like, for instance, I worked also in one of the summer internships at the IARI, the Indian Agricultural Research Institute, because I was getting the hang of all the biological stuff, but I wanted to also learn the data analysis part. So I emailed obviously a lot of scientists, but the one that replied was a scientist at IR. He was a bioinformatician. And he allowed me to come, obviously an unpaid internship, but allowed me to come there for 2 months and work with the PhD student that they had, to just see what she was doing and just to learn from her, like to help out a little bit in her project or something, which was an incredible experience for me. So it just depends on how interested or how badly you want to learn something. And cold emailing people, definitely go ahead and do it.
So, do you have any names of institutes or colleges in mind where people can do these emails to see if they get a reply or not?
You can try the ICERs, ISCs, the CSIR labs. Like we have one at the North Campus as well, like IGIB, which is also a very, very good place. You have NIP.
Yes, genomics and integrative biology.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's a very good lab. You can try that. There is NIPGR, the National Institute of Plant Genetic Resources. That's also in Delhi. Um, that I mean, these people they always need more people to work for like doing some little things. Like they won't allow you to conduct humongous experiments for sure, but just to have them to list out the tiny tasks that you may have. In fact, even DU, the master's program, like the Department of Botany and the Department of Zoology, they also have labs where you can go and intern and ask if you can volunteer some of your time to come and work for them. Also, something I did during my master's, that I just volunteered into different labs in the Department of Botany. So just find opportunities that are near you, because you don't want to move places if you're, especially if you're not getting paid. But also keep in mind what interests you and what you would like to learn about. And the good thing would be that if it's going to be a short internship, if you don't like it, you can move on to something else, and it's not that long of a commitment for you as well, and you get to, I mean, no experience is bad. So what you do is just gain something out of it. To see if you don't like it, then that's also a lesson that you can carry forward.
So, how important do you think these kind of research experiences are if you want to go into academia and research in future, like you are doing now? So, do you think these kind of internships or volunteering is important?
Incredibly important. I'm saying finding internship opportunities, especially if you want to continue to research, not only because it will put you on a edge, or like on, it will make your CV more competitive, but what a research, anything that you're doing. Like I did my PhD, I'm doing my postdoc. Through each experience, what we are learning to do, actually what we're learning is how to conduct a research project. So if you want a research career or a career in academia, a PhD is the minimum that you probably would require. And to get a PhD, you have to put your CV amongst the top lot. And having a lot of different types of internships, and having to show that you have gained skills which are not just academic degrees or marks, so that would actually really help your case, I think. So I think that's really important for people to, if they, especially if they want to do research.
Okay, now I'll hand over to Stuti to ask the rest of the questions.
Okay.
Okay, so hi, ma'am.
Hi.
With the thought that, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Stuti, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can. I think he's having
Hello,
network. Yeah, yeah. Stuti.
hello?
Hi, Stuti.
Yeah, yeah. With the thought that experience is the best teacher, the means utmost experience we can gather, we can gain the information. Being a plant botanist too, I'm a plant science major. So the question begins for the master's level, because see,
Mhm.
bachelor's level is a level, means a level to understand. Now the application starts in the master's level. The what we say, the main game starts in the master level. So I would be asking, why, what thought pulled you to for the pursuing masters in the same college?
Good question. Very good question. I didn't want to do it. I did not apply to any master's program in India. I was so sure that I wanted to do research, and that I wanted to be in a research lab for a master's. So I wanted a research master's degree, not a MSc, but like a MRes. And I was applying to colleges in abroad in Europe for my master's program, and I did end up getting offered a lot of positions. I was offered a master's in plant sciences in Oxford. I was also offered one in University of Bath, which was a master's plus PhD program. The only trouble was that it was not fully funded. So they were covering part of the fees, but not 100%. And I was probably somebody who did not do enough research back then to realize that I had options where I could apply even to even more places where I could have gotten possibly a fully funded position. and I was only concentrated on the UK.
And
And
that's where citizens of science comes.
exactly, exactly. You guys should have been there for people like me. Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that because back then there were these counseling institutes which would help you to prepare your application material and to send it to universities or something, and they were mostly focusing on the UK. That's the one that
Uh,
I tried.
Counseling
Uh,
institutes.
like these institutes, it's not so much counseling, but they just help you to prepare your CV and your statement of purpose and give you the template for letter of recommendation, and they make the application for you. So if you go in, then they get a cut from your fee. So like it's like a agreement between universities. So that's something I realized only later on. But back then I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll just apply here. And I didn't really want to apply anywhere in India for a master's program, because I had realized that ecology and evolutionary biology was the area that I wanted to focus on for my research. And back then, I could not find a lot of institutes that were doing the kind of research that I wanted to do, even in ecology and evolution. What I wanted was, I wanted to look at broad patterns in evolutionary biology, but looking at the genetic level. So I wanted to integrate all levels of hierarchy and all levels of complexity into one thing, which was something that I was not quite sure of how to be doing it, but I knew that I wanted to learn how to do it. And India was not, we were still like, probably it was an era where people were still trying to get there or something. So I didn't apply anywhere. So I got into the master's program in DU because, the university rankers in DU, the bachelors, they get an automatic admission to the master's program. So you don't have to
Yeah.
go through any process of writing a return test or anything like that. So I got in, and it was just like, okay, fine, I got it. I'm not getting a fully funded scholarship, so I'll try in 2 years, and that's basically what I did.
So why not IASC? Because it has a strong platform for evolutionary course. I think in
Yeah.
it's MSc integrated PhD. So you don't have thought for it for applying it?
I knew that ISC required us to give an entrance exam at that point for a
Yeah.
master's program, and
Yeah.
I would have done it, but the only thing was that I was so devastated that I had gotten into Oxford and I could not go because of the fully funding thing. So I actually was devastated and kind of sad, and I was like, I had just kind of like given up a little bit, like, you know what, I'm gonna see whatever life holds for me. I actually had left applying altogether and went to Chennai for a vacation, and when I came back, it was just that this was the only thing that had come back positive, that I could get into the master's program. And it was more like, you know what, let's just see if I can get more different areas of biology that could be of interest
Yeah.
to me more than ecology. Then, because master's program in botany also it's a very general program, you're not just concentrating on a specific field. You do the specialization only during your second year thesis project.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I realized that maybe I still needed to know a little bit more about what is it that I wanted to do. Maybe it's ecology, but maybe it's something else. So at that point, I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's just give it a try. And yeah, that's how it happened.
Okay, okay. So it can be graded as a limiting factor for pursuing MSc in abroad countries in comparison to pursuing PhD because it does not offer fully funding courses. The matters means the matter all that is money. That only I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it also depends on countries, because Germany, for instance, offers fully, like, you don't have to pay tuition fee if you want to come to Germany to study.
For
And
masters also.
yeah, for masters, there's no
Oh,
tuition fee. And there are a lot of other countries also that offer that, but again, that depends on it depends country to country basis. And I think you have to have that financial aspect of it behind the back of your head, because it's not a very easy choice for anybody to just spend 20 lakhs for just like a year or something like that, right? It's crazy to think about.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that
Fellow
was
Indian people.
yeah, exactly. And I didn't want to have my father pay any money for me for my education. And I made it a point that if I make it abroad, it had to be on my own terms. And I really did want to do something that would not require him to pay anymore a lot of money. So I wanted to apply for different types of scholarships, even if I was in India. And I was getting the science merit scholarship from the university because from my bachelor's in my master's. So my fee was kind of like covered even when I was doing my
Wait.
master's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so these means, as you told, science merit scholarship. It's DU based or it's UGC based.
Oh, it's UGC. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Okay, means that semester toppers are given the scholarship.
Yes.
Yeah. I do heard. Okay, so means it was a risky opportunity for you because you didn't apply it anywhere, and for the God's sake, we could say that the DU was a good option, the best option, I think, for
It was
pursuing
the
a
only
master.
option, in fact. At that point, I
Yeah,
was
that
like,
that only word I was not I was not telling.
it's
So
either this or sit at home. So I was like, yeah. And my friends were also getting into the master's botany program. So I was like, chalo, yeah, let's just see. And
so
I did hear that there were some really good scientists at the Department of Botany as well. Coincidentally, also Mirandians who had come back. They had went abroad and then come back to India to teach their own students, Indian students, I mean. So that quite inspired me as well. So I thought, if they could do it after, and they've left for their PhDs. So I was like, if they can do it, maybe I can just interact with them and learn from their path and just carry that forward. So one professor was the ultimately I did my internship with one of them as well, and she allowed me to work in her lab for different times and during summer vacations again, and I just went ahead with it, and it was really nice that I got that chance. At the end of the day, I don't regret doing that.
So
yeah,
can
that's
Damayanti expect
nice.
to see you coming back as a faculty by your final year?
Would
Uh,
love to see that. But
if Miranda House offers me a job, I will take it, but no other college. If Miranda House does it, yes, sure. Yeah, but I still feel like I still have a lot to research on. And the project that I'm on is just for 2 years. So I don't know how much I can understand what I want to understand in 2 years. So I'm going to give research about like 2 or 3 years a little bit more and then see where life takes me.
Okay. So the second question is also about the friends. See, peer pressure in our educational career plays a major role. So, what about the friends and friend circle, classmates who opted for different careers? And we get means, yeah, if a friend is doing means our interest also just spreads away. Ki what he or she is doing, it might be good enough, it might be better enough. So, what were the factors or the experiences related to that?
I do know that I have a friend who got into Sri Venkateshwara for zoology. She graduated 12th exactly as the same at the same time as me. We were in the same class. Her friend got into Dayal Singh, her best friend. So she cancelled her admission at Sri Venkateshwara to enter Dayal Singh College for just because of friendship. And she regretted that choice so much in the 3 years that continued after that because like it's the different, like friendship is obviously important and everything, but your career is your career. You
yeah, this
cannot
is a
make
big mistake.
Yeah, you cannot make decisions based on other people. You have to do you have to make a decision that's best for you. And if they are friends, you can stay friends even if you're not in the same college or in the same course. My best friend that I made in my first year of Miranda House, she's still my best friend even as of today. We didn't follow the same career path after bachelor's. She went to do something else. She went to Assam because she's from Assam. She went to Jorhat and she's an assistant professor in Jorhat right now. And I came here. We haven't seen each other in 7 or 8 years because the timings don't ever match every time I'm come to India or she cannot travel to Delhi. But she's still my best friend. My best friend from school, which I did my high school with. So from sixth grade we have been friends. She became an engineer, a civil engineer, and she fucking hates it. I'm sorry for the profane language. You have to edit that one. But she chose the path that, again, like the same path that the same kind of pressure that she had, but she decided to stick with it with engineering, and she does not have a job right now, by the way. But she and I are still extremely close. We're still best friends. So friendship will stay no matter where you go. That's what I'm trying to say. But you You cannot make your career decisions based on anybody else but your own interests. It does not have to, like, your parents, your friends can obviously guide you, tell you what they know best, but know and remember that they're telling you that from their lived experience. They cannot come and tell you that your life is going to follow the same path. You have to decide that for yourself. You have to own up to your own life choices. So it's a horrible choice to make because my friend is doing it, I will do it. All bad decisions come from that exact sentence.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a means profound thought also saying also that the parents, as a parents means, since I'm an educationist, I would like to say that the parents should protect their child, not control their child aspirations
Exactly.
and dreams.
Exactly. Completely agree with you.
So the next question is, since you have done so many internships in India also under different professors, prestigious professors, and now you are doing PhD, so postdoc, sorry. So you
Yes.
have a variety of experience. And what would you like to say about the Indian research institutes, specifically means research and development purpose and that all?
So I cannot talk about the institutes I haven't been to. So because I've not had that experience of being in those labs, but
Yeah.
from my personal experience of being in DU, not Miranda House, but the master's program that I was when I was interning, I realized that we do not put a lot of focus on research. Even if you're doing a PhD in DU at the Department of Botany, I realized that there was not a focus on producing new knowledge. There was not a focus on producing something innovative, something that nobody else had done before. And that is my personal experience
While doing
because
PhD,
they were doing PhDs, like
while
students.
doing PhD.
No, I'm talking about my master's
Uh,
internship. My PhD was in France.
acha, acha.
So
Okay.
during my masters, I'm telling you, like students who were doing their PhDs there, I think a lot of PhD people enter research environments because it offers that kind of security because you have a job after if you have a PhD, and then you kind of, at least in the department where I was in, the focus on producing that knowledge was not very much so. And there was a place near the Patel Chest, near the university, where you could actually order theses. You can just tell them that the lab that you're working on, and you can just tell them to like to edit a few lines because everybody was working on the same thing or similar things, and they would just prepare your thesis for you. I found that mind blowing. I was like, this is not what I want to do. And that's why I left the country because I realized I was offered a PhD program in DU as well and in and MPhil also. But I remember that day I was like, I will not continue researching here because I really did want to do something that was new and innovative, something to add to the body of knowledge that's out there. Having said all of this, I do know that Indian institutes are really coming up with some great stuff right now, and they have probably been doing that even when I was there. That's just that I wasn't good enough to get into a PhD program there. No, I just didn't really apply. But the fact that we have so many people who are capable of so many different things, I think that the problem is just that the lack of guidance as to what you would like to do, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the fact that we all follow the same path that has been followed by so many others. But if you just don't do that, I think if you really want to contribute to the science, I do know for a fact that there are so many places where they're doing some incredible work, like Savitri Bhai Phule University in there. It's like I know
Yeah.
a
Ferguson
scientist.
College.
I've done my master's from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like that place, there are some really cool researchers who are working there. Like I know one from Twitter, in fact, Dr. Karishma Kaushik. She went to America so she's a physician. So she did her MD. So she's a doctor, and then she went for a PhD in UT Austin, I think. And then she came back, and she's a researcher here now. So she works on biofilms.
Nice, nice. So
And
my master's was in physics, so I was never
oh,
in touch
okay,
with biology part, but yeah, that's
okay,
also
but
cool.
she's like
Uh, I,
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to heard about the cool professors of Savitribai Phule because one of my professor was an intern there, and after that he was just teaching me for contractual. So the next question might be in general. See, whatever career a person just means designs to go on, designs the path to move on. The major option is about the growing the area of interest. So, what means did that a simple experiment, the experience about means not being an engineer, just provoked you to leave engineering, and not doing the that section works and that all works just provoked you for not opting the zoology, so you opted botany.
Yeah, that's true. And then when I started studying botany, I grew genuine interest in botany. If I was not interested in it, probably I would have thought of switching fields again. But it just so happened that I was lucky enough to be at a place like Miranda House to get a get taught by teachers who were really interested in teaching you and were really interested in making you get excited about plants. That my interest really grew in botany because of them. And you're right that it was a lot of these coincidences that have put me towards the path that I'm on. But the fact that I have been conscious about each of those decisions and I have given them all a very honest shot. I really did. Even engineering, I did. Even I really did think about zoology as well. But the thing is that I really put a lot of effort into thinking what I did not want to do. I think that is what narrowed down the choices for me about what I could do.
That means area of interest plays a major role in designing your career and means whole life.
Of course, definitely. And if you
Okay.
don't even like what you do on a daily basis, what are you even living for? I mean, you know what I mean? Like you have to wake up every single day and want to work. It should not be like, oh my God, I have to do it. Like if your job becomes your passion or your hobby, it doesn't really look like a job anymore. It's like I'm just doing this for fun. And that's exactly how I feel after being in research for almost, I don't know how many years it's been. I still wake up every day and I feel like, oh my God, I get to do something new today. I fail every single day. I've been failing for the last 2 months trying to design a new methodology to experiment on something that involves, I'm moving into chemistry now. I'm studying chemistry. So I've moved from, I mean, I'm trying to integrate biology with chemistry, but the fact that I'm learning something new, and if I'm able to just get excited about
Yes.
that feeling, then that's worthwhile.
Okay. So coming from general to specific, now the question would be about your PhD topic and its specialization and project works and that all.
Okay. So you want to know about what I did my PhD on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And what are
So,
the different means apart from your topic? What are the other topics which may the students can opt? Means see, there we have been heard that yeah, there's much research and development done in the subject of genetics.
mhm,
Huh?
yeah,
In biology, I think genetic is the subject that in which the means the deepest level of research and development has been done.
right.
But
But
there are many emerging disciplines, interdisciplines also, that only we wanted to know.
so genetics is, when you actually come and think about what is genetics, is to identify probably the at the most smallest cellular level something that you're trying to identify the functions of those genes at the the most smallest unit of life, that level. But if you kind of like push back a little bit about what why are you studying those gene functions, the what are you studying that for, I think you would realize that
Yeah.
nothing in genetics can be done without anything else in other aspect of biology. You have to, if you're trying to find the genes
Yes.
related to flowering, you're looking at taxonomy or like physiology. If you're trying to identify genes related to adaptation, you're looking at ecology. So genetics has to be combined with other aspects of biology in order to have a fully formed understanding of exactly what you're trying to find out, or anything that you're trying to identify has to have it. Even in biology, it has to have a multi you have to look at it, the perspective has to come from at least multiple different types of understanding that phenomena that you're trying to identify. If you go through papers, any paper in actually genetics or any you just like take a random paper and read the introduction part, they will always they will never start directly talking about the genes. They will first give you the broad question, what is the big question that's involved into the specific paper, then go into fact about what plant material or animal material whatever they used, which will be a little bit of taxonomy also included, like why this plant is important for studying this. Then they would go into the phenomena that they're trying to identify. Then only will they come into genetics. So you understand it has to have this different perspective. And that's what I wanted to study, but mostly in terms of ecology and evolution. I wanted to study how genes behave, what genes are important in identifying in the particular adapt not adaptation but the behavior that I was trying to look into in terms of plants. To give you a little bit more specific, I like to study plants in nature. So I want to understand how plants behave in nature. That's my broad question. Specifically, how plants interact with other plants in nature. So plant plant interactions is my broad field of study. And I tried in my PhD specifically trying to understand if there are some. First question was, do plants behave in a positive way with each other? Like, can two plants, just like humans can, sometimes help each other and be nice to each other, can plants do that too? That was the thing that I was trying to find in my PhD. And then once I had found out that, so that's the ecology part, I would wanted to identify if there are some genes involved in plants being nice to each other. And then comes the evolution part, where I wanted to see if these genes have been selected in the plant genome over the course of its history, evolutionary history, to be of importance. Because if they are important for the plant, then they would be retained throughout the generations. So then that becomes the evolutionary part. And the final part, which would have been molecular biology, was to validate my finding. Then I would have cloned the gene and created those knockout mutants and see if the plant changes its behavior. So my PhD was, in a nutshell, all of this.
So
Yeah,
essentially, you used genetics and molecular biology to understand altruism in plants, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's
I couldn't
really
really
interesting.
do molecular biology because my PhD ended in 3 years, but hopefully I get to do that here if I have the time. But yeah, basically, yep.
okay. So now we would like to know about the fellowship. Means there are many types of fellowships, such as DAD and one you pursued Marie Curie fellowship. We would like to know that means the fellowships and their eligibility criteria. How they applied to different institutes? Are they applicable to all the European institutes, or specifically for some universities and that all, or to some departments?
I think there are all these types. There's not one type of fellowship that's out there. There are fellowships that are at the European level. There are fellowships that are given by the government of India to come and study abroad. There are also departmental fellowships or university level fellowships that exist within different institutes that allow you to do this. I think the eligibility criteria again depends on the country that you're going to, and sometimes it can actually also depend on the institute that you're applying to, because some require you to have experience in research, some would just take you in based on your interests and areas of interest, and if you're able to convince them that this is something that you can be good at. So when it comes to master's program abroad, it's a little bit easier because it's like you get to study a lot, like in an academic course, right? So that becomes easier because a lot of students do migrate for masters, and they have, like you said, dart for Germany. There are these fellowships that are available. Erasmus Mundus scholarships are also available for exchange programs all across Europe. So these are some really prestigious scholarship programs that are out there for masters. And there's also one called Rhodes Fellowship, which is something that I'm sure you guys know about that. But
It's for
these,
Oxford, I think.
yes, for Oxford, yes. So like there are
For
these, yeah, it's a, like there are some really good prestigious scholarships for masters program as well. But when it comes to PhD, the funding options become a little more in number when it comes to that, because if you're especially applying to a research lab, it's assumed that if there is a group that's performing research in a lab, they have some sort of basal funding, and that's why they have advertised a PhD position. And when you find an advertisement for a PhD position, I mean, in most cases, they actually have the salary remuneration written somewhere in the advertisement itself. So then the job is to apply through like to the links that they provide, but that's usually that's at the level of institute or the lab or the group level. So that can vary, but the funding options are clearly way more for PhDs. But then it becomes harder because you have to convince them. So the first process is to give them your CV and see if you're shortlisted for an interview. But then having research skills, especially if you want to do a PhD, having a background where you have conducted different internships and have that little bit of research experience, and then you've applied to a program which complements their interests, or where they see you to be a good fit, then they probably would call you for an interview. And then the part about convincing them to take you on as a student or PhD student, that's the important bit that comes there.
Okay, okay. And what about the role of IELTS or TOEFL, means the English licenses which are required for
Yeah,
the admission?
yeah. So that TOEFL is for America. So you have to give GRE and TOEFL exams. So in America, the system is a little bit different because they require you to give these competitive exams, and the scores of these exams will be sent to different universities that you are interested in applying for the graduate programs. So their PhD programs are called graduate programs. So there, it's more like a slightly different structure where you apply the entire application package, like your CV, your statement of interest, your they would probably ask you to give the reference details of some people who can vouch for you and everything. But then you have to give these exams as well, and different universities have different range of these marks. Actually are like a filtering criteria for American universities. But and once you are in America, like if you are in the research program there, you are the first year or the 2 years or something, you're still like rotating different labs, so you don't have to have a specific project or research topic in mind as such. You just apply to a department, and though then through the lab rotations and everything, you get to decide then or specify your research area, and then work towards your PhD project after that academic course work time has finished. That's why it takes longer in America to finish a PhD. The average time is about 5 6 or something like that years, and the structure is quite different in Europe. IELTS is something that people use for the UK. That's just an English proficiency exam, but that's much easier than TOEFL. I can tell you because I've given all three. So, but in all other European countries, you don't have the requirement for IELTS. In Canada, also, you have the competitive exam
Okay,
requirement, but not in Europe.
okay. So moving on with the interaction, I would request Divisa to just means continue the interaction.
Okay, so as far as the works and the PhD that you have gone through, like what are your future plans? Like to continue the research, or do you want to shift to the industry side to have
I
some?
Good question. I don't really know yet because I'm taking one day at a time. So right now I have 2 years to finish up this project, and I want to just focus on doing a good job here. But having said that, I really do like research a lot. I love research. I love the whole process that goes into the whole thing about the joys and frustrations of being a scientist. I enjoy all of it. So if all things go well, I hope to continue to remain a researcher and to be doing some cool science, but no set plans yet.
Okay. So in the research field, as you said before, like the altruism that is involving in plants is what you are testing it right now.
Yeah.
So do you have a tree of where to go till where to go, like how and all it's happening in plants? Like you do you
That's
have like kind of a indicate not an indicator, a kind of a bridge where you can see that okay, fine, this is where I need to get to. No.
That's the thing about research. You never finish. You never get to a point where you're like, okay, I found enough. You never reach that point. There is always something new. There is always something more to understand. There is always something new to discover. And that's the beauty of it, I think. And for me, what I finished in my PhD, I am trying to move away from that in the sense that I'm not only focusing on altruism anymore. I'm trying to identify all different types of plants interactions, but really trying to this time look at what the chemical cues that are involved in how a plant recognizes and reacts to a neighboring plant, and then going into the genetics of it because that's important. And then hopefully I would get to a point where I have some new questions to ask.
Cool. So the work that you have been doing so far to make science like so common to people, I've seen that you have gone through a non-technical like organizations, going through an NGOs, being an advocate for children and also for the women empowerment. Shall we know a brief about what the works you have gone through?
Uh, Currently, I mean, in the past also, I have done this quite a bit. Even ever since I was a student at Miranda House, I volunteered at different NGOs because I realized my privilege quite early in life that I have had the privilege to have access to education and quality education and the choice to make my own choice. But not a lot of people have that. So I really wanted to do my bit to contribute to that field to help other people reach the same point. The same potential. And I started working for NGOs when I was in India, trying to teach young children and help women enter job market. So it was not just science, but like whatever skill sets they would need to reach a point where they can be employed. And I continued that work through my master's also. And in my PhD, since my PhD, I think towards the end of my PhD, because the first 2 years I took like a little break because I was just so very focused on my research. But since then, I've been working for this NGO called Lotus Stem, which is situated in Canada. So they basically work towards promoting and advancing the South Asian women in science careers, so STEM careers, in fact. So they help in a lot of different ways to do that, and I mentor students through that program. So they have a mentorship program. So I've been mentoring young women and girls and helping them through making exactly the kind of topics we talked about, like making a career choice and what to do and when you're feeling a little stuck, and through just helping through all of that. I've been doing that with them for quite like the almost 2 years now.
Talking about feminism, like, did you ever face any like issues because of your gender, or some remarks or something that came as offensive?
I did, and that's not a very pleasant memory to be sharing. But when I was a PhD student, I was the only girl in my team. I was the only non-French person in my team, and I was the youngest person in my team. And these factors were not quite okay for being in that environment. And I did have comments where I was told to clean kitchenware because women have to clean kitchenware, like the disposable glasswares and stuff like that. And ecology is a man's field, or people mocked me because I was different, and people there was an incident related to harassment also when I was in my PhD, but that is a memory that I'm trying to not think about much anymore because it's really hard to be an international student, especially if you have left all of your support system and family behind, trying to follow your dream. It's harder when you are in an environment where people look at gender as something that can distinguish the capability of a scientist. And I have come to the point where I've realized that no matter where I go, I would like to make an advocate for this change because science, I really do believe, is a place where all these barriers that humans have created to distinguish between people like race, color, religion, sex. I think that's all. It kind of like vanishes when you're talking about science. I think because that's the only thing that's important, what you bring to the table. And that's why I've been working towards helping to bridge that exact gap for other people to not have the same struggles as I did.
Yeah, it's very good to see a strong person like coming out of all those odds and being one who can support the others too.
Thank you.
So I have seen that you have started a foundation in Paksh. So shall we
Yeah.
know about it? Like
Oh,
what is
yeah,
it
of
all
course.
about?
Definitely.
And one thing I have gone through is based on the mental health of the researchers. So what is it all about?
Yeah, so as you aptly mentioned, Paksh is an initiative that is under the umbrella of Lotus Stem, the NGO I told you about. I when I was going through this really hard time during my PhD, I tried to find the the support system, because when you're in a PhD, you kind of feel that probably you're isolated and you're the only person who feel frustrated, or this journey is something that you have to do on your own, and you have to toughen up if you have to be a scientist, and all of that happened with me. I went through that emotion, but I realized that my mental health was deteriorating and I needed to talk people. I wanted to have that support system to talk about it, and I realized that that system was not there, that was not available. And I also realized that I'm not the only one who probably feels this way. There are a lot of people who do, and the fear of maybe other people finding out about it, or that jeopardizing their career or their future prospects, may be outweighing what the feeling that they're having right now. So they just feel like they have to suck it up and do it, and just be in that same situation. So when I realized that support system was not there, I decided to create it. And I decided to do that. For I would like to have it for all students possible, but because I'm the only one, when I started I was alone, and I could only handle I mean, I wanted to give everybody that space, so I could not handle lot of people. So we decided to focus on graduates and postdocs from across the globe, um, just to make them have the space where they could come in, meet with each other and just share stories, because we don't know about each other anything beyond our names and where we are. We cannot it's just the fact that we are probably feeling same things, and just to have somebody listen to you, maybe sometimes that's enough. So that's all we do, and I've been doing that for 2 years now, and we're gearing up for the third phase now. And I have a slightly bigger team now, so probably we can open up that for a little bit more students and people. But I hope to see it get bigger, and have more people be a part of it.
So why the name Paksh?
Paksh means to be by someone's side. When I was
Yeah, yeah,
coming
yeah.
up with the name, I tried a lot of different types of name, but Paksh stuck because to be by my side was something I needed at that point. I wanted somebody to be on my side. No questions asked, that unconditional support that I needed from somebody who had been through that same journey, like through the academic journey, and to have understood that sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days. All of those things, that support system I did not have. So I wanted to give people that feeling that no matter what, we are on your side. We will not judge you. We will not, this will be a safe space, and you can come in here with all of your frustrations and just let it all out. So I think Paksh sounded something that people would relate to a little bit more. So
Yeah, I do think because research is the ocean which demands the highest patience and perseverance level in comparison
that's
to each and every profession existing.
that is so true. Yeah, it comes with a lot of fun also, though, but it can get a little frustrating, like not a lot frustrating. I go through that personally as well, so I
Mm.
can vouch for it. There are some good days, and then there are days like,
Yeah.
why am I even doing this? But yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah, seems Devija is out for some time. Damayanti, can you continue with the questions, or like, yeah, should I?
Yeah, sure. I think we just wanted to ask you some general questions, like not specifically academically. So, if someone wants to reach the position where you are now, like into research career or into higher education, then what general advice do you have for someone who aspires to be like you, apart from the academic rigorous stuff?
keep at it. um, you will have a lot of failures. Their plans don't work the first time. It's just the one thing that I have learned through everything that I've done so far is that I waited to find the right opportunity, like what a plant does too, right? Like a seed, when you put it in the soil, it doesn't germinate automatically, right? It waits for the exact conditions for it to identify that, okay, this is the right environment, this is the right setting for me to bloom and become the best version of myself. I think I take a lot of inspiration from that. And just to tell you that it will not happen, a seed does not have it easy also. There's a lot of conditions that it has to endure. Not everything is good at the same time, but it just knows where it wants to go, what it wants to become. It knows that it has to put the first root down, and it's terrifying, it's scary to go to a new place, learn something new, not be good at something when you try it for the first time. But the fact that you have to have the courage to fail, you have to have the courage to know that this is just one failure, this is not the end of your world, and there is more to life than just your career. There is so much more. You are a person. You do not have to put yourself to these checklists of boxes that, okay, if I do this, I will be happy. If I do like a master's, or if I do a PhD, only then can I be happy. I did that and I know it does not work. Your happiness today is as important as your plans for today or for tomorrow. If you don't focus on what makes you happy besides your career, then you need to take the time out to do it.
That's a really beautiful
Yeah, I
analogy
do
using
agree.
plants.
Thank you.
And since your work, your academic focus is largely about environment and nature, so do you have any advice or any general comments about someone who's not from a scientific background but wants to contribute to environment or nature or conservation in general? So, any general words or suggestions for someone like that?
I mean, I think we all should be working towards the environmental conservation right now, because look at planet Earth. We have done it to our best of our ability to actually make sure that future generations cannot sustain in this planet. So I think we all should be taking that into account right now and doing something about it. And the Fridays for Future um, campaign, I really like that, because at least somebody is taking some accountability of doing something about it. And I think there are a lot of ways to contribute, even if you don't know the scientific aspect of it. The first step is to get aware, to get to understand it. You don't have to be a scientist to understand that you are like creating a ruckus to the environment. You don't need to have a PhD to know that cutting trees is not a good idea. Like the fact that so there can be a lot of misinformation out there, but to get educated about the thing that's happening around you right now is the first step to do it. And then there are a lot of ways to contribute. Like, you don't even have to like sign up to an NGO. If you have the time for doing that, great. But you should be conscious about what you can do at your own individual level also, if you want to do something for the environment. Because caring for the environment, you're not doing it just for yourself, you're doing it for the future generations as well, right? So if you are conscious on that level, things like recycling, or like mm, like planting a tree when you feel like when there is a drive happening, cleaning up the beaches, like people have been doing that, like not eating. I mean, I'm a vegetarian, so I mean I know that people really like meat or something like that, but like becoming making life choices that can have a direct impact on reducing probably your carbon footprint, or to help the way that you can in the tiniest possible way. Why wouldn't you? Why won't you?
Certainly, and I think as students of science and biology specifically, it is our duty to spread the correct information and concepts to those who don't know about it in detail.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think now we could screen some parts of that book, maybe if there are no more questions on our side.
Yeah, tell me about the book, Jaishree. Like there was a book written on you, right? It
Yeah.
has very beautiful illustrations, right?
That's a
Yeah.
book that was published by Pratham Books, and it was written by Sayantan Datta. They are very sweet, and they approached me to. They had just put that on Twitter, and we got in touch, and they did an incredible job. And Bhavya is the illustrator of that book, and she's also incredible. And they just decided that maybe my story was interesting enough to inspire children towards a path in science, and decided to put that in a book format. and that's the book that it's called Plant Whisperer, and I think it's been translated to different languages now, and
Yeah.
that's like an incredible honor. So
Yeah, I'm sharing that for you. Yeah. So just this is the book, and that's very beautiful illustrations. You can go through that, and it's freely available for everyone to download. All rights reserved by this Pradham Books, and yeah, maybe I'll put the link for this book. These are
yeah, I
some
think that's a good
shots of
idea.
that, and yeah, this is very beautifully illustrated.
That looks exactly like me
Exactly, like
with the
I can
hair
see
color
that.
and everything.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, I think everyone should check this out. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing. What they are doing is like insane, insane. Yeah, it's very happy. This is the website, by the way, Story Weaver. You can find it directly in the website. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. Thanks.
Oh, my pleasure.
So should
Yeah.
we end now or?
Yeah, I guess that's a wonderful thing interacting with you, Jaishree.
Same
Maybe
here.
like if you have time, we can chat a little more. No, or if you.
Um, I mean, we can schedule another call maybe some other time because
No,
I would
absolutely.
like,
That would be pleasure.
you know,
That's more than what I
sorry because
expected.
I know it's
Yeah.
like time there, but
Yeah.
my father kept calling me during the interview and I didn't want to call him back, so that's why I called back. So that because he gets to
So thank you
sleep a
so
little.
much for taking out this time for us, and I'm sure it will inspire a lot of other young biologists to go into
Yeah.
academia, go into research, and really put their efforts into it.
I'm sure. I really hope that that happens because we do need more scientists. We really do. Science has a place for all of us. So I really do think that this is the way
Yeah.
to solving a lot of problems that our planet
Yeah.
faces as of today.
Yeah. Right. Right. Again, thanks again from my side
Thank
for
you.
agreeing for all of this and for your valuable time. Hoping to
Thank
see
you
you
for the wonderful
working.
conversation we had.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
that
much,
was
and thanks
wonderful.
all of
Yeah.
you. You guys are incredible. You guys are doing a very, very good job. So keep up the good work and let's talk more.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. All right. See you
Yeah.
again. Bye,
Yeah,
bye,
sure.
guys.
See
See
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Thanks.
bye. Bye.